Hey everybody, this is the second real life superhero debut intro with the same costume, the blue and gray actual sweatsuit with the zipper, with actual sweatpants and the other accessories that go with it. Yeah, this is the same video, only this time, once again, this time Kurt Angle's Impact Wrestling theme will be my walkout song. The intro song will once again be Nick Flicks, Something You Can Never Own. I apologize for the situation with my dog in the previous version. So yeah, other than that, the taunts and mannerisms and everything else will be the same. So with that being said, let's get started right now.
Don't wanna sleep in, cause I got something to prove. I gotta take what I hate and finally make a move. I think of you and all the shit you gon' do. Well, I'ma make hella sure that I don't become you. Have no regrets, yeah, outside of my chest. I'll never forget what it's like to be in debt. Been stabbed in the back bed, I'll show you what happens. Pass me the mic and I'll show you with action. I feel this pain, you already know. Turn that to gains, let my money show. I've got these things that I can't let go. Watch me turn this life into something that you could never own. I feel this pain, you already know. Turn that to gains, let my money show. I've got these things that I can't let go. Watch me turn this life into something that you could never own.
I'm fed up, dismissing the competition. You're hopeless, I'm trash, they're efficient. Listen, you want a class on tradition? My one condition, forget the best of the century. Talk about the best of all time, you better mention me. Essentially, I'm the best that's ever gonna be. I hold my ground, you never take it from under me. Don't run to me, it's gonna be trouble. I hit you so many times, you see triple or double instead of one of me. I got more heart, more weight to tear you apart. I lay you down on the ground. Made it right, it's no different to me. If you tap out, cash out, or simply pass out for free. Cause you face down, really, barely alive. Cause I'm an animal inside, hear me? I'm what the game is supposed to be. Hopefully you see what I mean. Knock you out, haven't seen. You were beaten by a triple team. Box you out the whole scene and clean. Alive like my dream, I shine bright. Smash you, front to back. You gon' need hindsight. In fact, when I attack, you're lucky if I need to attack. I'm prone to overkill. I work you over till I steal your motor skills. To sing whenever I'm done. You're numb, throw the thumb. Folks can't remember their name, or where they're from. And some speechless, slow, looking deaf and dumb. You're weak like 7 days. Dead afraid, I'm amazed. Don't still step up, cause I hit more men than Jenna Jameson in better days. You can't clear your head, you with a Jenna Hayes.
Hey everybody, as you can see by the title, this is yet another Street Fighter the animated series review. This time another real life superhero review. This is my remade real life superhero review of Street Fighter, my second version. Yeah, I promised in a different video that I would take a break from the Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and Double Dragon cartoons and franchises alike, because I want to talk about cartoons and other franchises I rarely and never get to talk about. But I decided to knock Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and Double Dragon out the way again, because all cartoons only lasted a short 1 to 2 seasons, so they're easy to talk about compared to the other franchises which have multiple episodes, or super gigantic complex plots that I just barely understand. Yeah, the previous daytime version I did with my sports combat rock and roll outfit, rock and roll gym trunks with sweat jacket, with or without tank top, unzipped or semi zipped up. Yeah, by the window over there. That will be in the description box below. But the comments will be disabled because I like that video, but it's way too long, and the quality in that video is poor. After finally rewatching it, after recording it, rewatching it before recording it, and before and after recording it, and then I did another semi evening daytime version, which ended up being way too long. That will be uploaded without intro, and that won't be in the description box below, but it will be on my channel for people who want to see it. I like this so much I didn't want to delete it, so I decided to put it together without the intro, and the comments will be closed on that and that one. This version and the newest narration version I did will be the open comment versions. So yeah, this is the season 1 portion of this large overview and review, and the iconic and hilarious The Medium is the Message episode 8, the episode responsible for the various memes that will play in the background while I review on camera down there sitting down. Is daytime, so you know that means I get to sit down. I also badly want to do this during the daytime. That's why these kept coming out bad. For some reason, I like doing these during the daytime. Yeah, but I'll definitely do a nighttime version with a different costume sometime in the future. But right now, this remade daytime version. So with that being said, let me get started right now.
One of the greatest martial artists in the world travels the global tournament.
Yeah, like I said in plenty of previous videos.
Leader of an elite group of international crime fighters, known only by their code name, Street Fighter. The heroic man beast, Blanca, hard-kicking fighting machine, Chun-Li.
Sorry, slight wardrobe malfunction. Yeah, like I said in plenty of previous videos. I am a huge fan of the Street Fighter franchise, and this cartoon is one of my all-time favorite and best from the Street Fighter franchise. I consider it the best, alongside the Street Fighter Alpha, the animation movie, and the Udon comic books, which the Udon comic books are the supreme best, as the Udon comic books has everything Street Fighter from pre-Street Fighter 2 Alpha all the way to Street Fighter 5, the most recent game that was released before the most recently released Street Fighter 6. Yeah. And this cartoon, I loved it as a kid, but I was a kid then, and this, along with the live action film, and the anime film, and the anime television series, which aired around the same time as this did, Street Fighter 2 Victory, and the later Alpha, the animation film, this is all I had for Street Fighter lore outside of its video game. Video game had a storyline, but it was single player campaigns. There was never a one overarching story mode to connect all these storylines, all the fighters' storylines to one gigantic storyline, which in my opinion, this is where the various cartoons, movies, animes did better than this video game, and that was connecting each fighter story to one gigantic storyline. Yeah.
My folks weren't all that
storyline. Yeah, this cartoon managed to let me continue with my history. Then in the mid 2000s, yeah, I could kind of see it for its flaws when I watched The Witcher's cartoon stupidity series. He'll make a video collage of all the goofy moments from a cartoon and splash them together. Then splash them to he'll splash them together. He'll splash them together, and I always watched that before watching the cartoon, so that sort of gave me a negative look, a negative look on the negative view of the cartoon. I still like the cartoon, but I no longer consider it the masterpiece I thought it was. And that was the same with the Mortal Kombat and Double Dragon cartoons too. Then one day I sat down and watched the cartoon from episode 1 all the way to episode 1 all the way to seasons 2's 26. And I was impressed, especially now that I know more about Street Fighter lore and storyline. I'm impressed they got this much back in the early days. This was the early days of Street Fighter. This was the early days of Street Fighter when not much was really known about the lore. The lore wasn't as strong as it was now. So I'm impressed they got a two seasons, 26 episode story, and 26 episode story, and like I said, for a series that didn't have such strong lore, this was still a great cartoon. I thought this cartoon stayed as close as possible as they could with the games, only deviating in a lot of areas, and making it suitable for prime time animated seasonal television. Because if you were to adapt the video games, it would be like a series of films, anime or live action. If you want to go for an animated series, which is the best way to include all characters. That's the best way to include all characters. Another thing I liked about this versus the anime adaptations. The anime adaptations, because of time constraints, can only focus on a few Street Fighters at a time. This series gave you every Street Fighter character that was produced at that time. Every Street Fighter character that was produced at that time at least made a cameo. In this cartoon. Everyone except Dan. I'm disappointed it wasn't here because this cartoon was made for him. But then again, you probably don't need him because every character except for a few is practically Dan Hibiki. Yeah. And speaking of that, this cartoon is a cross between G.I. Joe, Marvel's X-Men, the animated series, the 90s Marvel and animated DC Universe cartoons, Street Fighter 2, the anime movie, which I consider, along with Batman, the animated series, and X-Men, the animated series, one of the most important pieces of animation in the 90s. A lot of people, like I said, wanted to be Street Fighter 2, the anime movie, and of course, its anime television series counterpart, Street Fighter 2 Victory, with elements of Dragon Ball and various Japanese anime. He spliced all that together, and the storylines and lores of the games: Street Fighter Alpha 1 and 2, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and a couple of elements from the other Capcom games. You get this awesome cartoon right here, which I think is way better than it's giving credit for. This cartoon is predominantly received a mixed to negative reception, but I think the cartoon is way better than people give it credit for. It's aged better. Better than I thought. This is the type of animated programming we need now. Everything is comedy, adventure, even the action. This is comedy too, but there's lots of drama, storyline, and strong lore, and complex and strong writing, despite the goofy and cheese-tastic nature of this cartoon. So season one of the series was weak. Season one of the series, like a lot of 90s animated series, season 1 was weak. The season 2 was way better, but season 1 was still exciting. The plot, of course, follows the plot of the 1994 live action movie. Guile is still the main character. And he leads an underground group of Street Fighters, literally called Street Fighter from his superior Escher, against the evil forces of General M. Bison and his shadowy organization. The characters are Guile, Ryu, Ken, Chun-Li, Cammy, Fei Long, DJ, T-Hawk, Captain Sawada, Captain Sawada, which I love how this cartoon separated Fei Long and Captain Sawada and made them their own separate characters, and actually went more in depth with Captain Sawada. In his episode, there was more depth given to his character, giving him much more to do instead of just being a poor replacement for Fei Long and an Asian version of Guile. Then you got Blanca, who just like in live action, him and Charlie are one person. And you got E Honda. Yeah, you got E Honda. That's it for the good guys. That's it for the good guys. And then we move on to the bad guys. You have the general, the main antagonist, the general, M. Bison. You have his second in command, Sagat. Then you have Vega, and Balrog. Balrog doesn't really do much in this series except sit around typing with boxing gloves on, which he does in the episode you're listening to in the background. Yeah, background. And in cameo appearances, Adon, Birdie, Saddam from Final Fight, Cody, Jessica, Mike Hager and Guy and Rose make cameos before their actual introductions in season two, and the other characters I just mentioned just make numerous cameos throughout the series. And in the season 1 finale, Akuma makes his first not his first animated appearance, but his first animated appearance with an actual role in the story. In the previous adaptations, he just makes multiple cameo appearances. Here, he actually has a plot in the story, which is the most unique plot you'll ever see in a Street Fighter series. He has Guile leads these undercover groups into a villainous battle with Bison. One thing I like about this is that there's the task force, G.I. Joe, X-Men, Avenger style of missions, but when they're not doing that, or when the mission is part of this, they're in the tournament. The World International Martial Arts Tournament is featured here. They're busting butt in the World Martial Arts International Tournament. So like I said, I enjoyed all the episodes except for episodes 9 of season 1 and episodes 19 of season 2. Both of these are the worst episodes ever. The other Street Fighters hardly appear and play big roles, and the episodes mostly center around Blanca and Vega. Both of those are good characters, but I would want to watch a Street Fighter series or movie with those two as main characters and everyone as supporting. Favorite and best includes episode 1, The Adventure Begins, one of the most hilarious starts and episodes ever that feels like a cross between Captain Planet, the 1970s environmental season 1 Super Friends series, and Super Friends series, X-Men the animated series with a little mix of Hanna-Barbera's Scooby-Doo. Then you got this episode also contains Guile's signature Bison. When he does that and the flames rise up behind him. There's also a funny moment where Ryu is run over by a pig. He says, "What was that? I just got splashed by Otto the pig. That's it. I'm out of here." Another moment which Kid says, "Come on, Ryu, rubies, babes." He says, Ryu says, "Wait a minute. I thought you said work." Then you got episode 8, which you listen to in the background, where the Street Fighters compete in the International Street Fighting animated series, and Bison kidnaps a scientist and forces him to create deformed-looking mutants to first frame the Street Fighters by destroying the temple with the scientists also getting blackmailed to create some kind of hologram device that makes it look like the Street Fighters. The Street Fighters are destroying The Street Fighters are destroying the building. A hologram to cover the mutants with the Street Fighter skins. Then and Bison hilariously saying, oh no, and then seeking those same mutants on the Street Fighters, to which Bison, you just heard it, Bison does two popular memes, the ever iconic, oh, this is delicious. Then the second one, the yes, when the mutants are torturing and beating up Gal and the Street Fighters. Then the other one with Balrog typing with boxing gloves on. So yeah, I like how the Street Fighter tournament was featured in this episode, and I love the memes. Yeah, this cartoon is everything that a Saturday morning cartoon should be. Action-packed, downright hilarious, comedic with strong writing, adventure and fun for the whole family. Is what this cartoon was, and what all cartoons should aspire to be. So yeah. Then you got episode 13, very iconic Strange Big Fellows, because this episode not only features the debut of Akuma, but it features the rare team up of Gal and Bison. Akuma, in his plot, attacks both parties, and both Gal and Bison thinks that each other are responsible for the attacks, and Akuma lures them to an island where they first fight amongst each other, then put their differences aside to deal with the Azazuki Master Akuma, who wants the ultimate fight and challenge. Gal and Bison, fierce enemies, rivals, for the first time in any Street Fighter media, had to put their differences aside to run Akuma out of town. So an awesome way to cap off season 1. Speaking of capping off season 1, this episode featured the best animation of the entire season. It featured the former Japanese Gonzo style of animation, which we will see more of. It increased anime-like quality animation in the next season, season 2. So get ready, Street Fighter the animated series.
Where are we supposed to go now?
Whew. Alright people, it's time for the final part to my Street Fighter the animated series overview and review remake, both season 1 and 2. This is the season 2 part. This is the final part, because season 2 is the final season, second and final season of Street Fighter the animated series. The episode that will play in the background is the world's greatest warrior, one of the greatest, since I used the greatest episode, Final Fight, in a previous one. World's Greatest Warrior will be used here. So with that being said, let me start the episode and finish and make my grand entrance on camera.
William Goddard, one of the greatest martial artists in the world, travels the global tournament circuit, using it to conceal his top-secret mission as leader of an elite group of international crime fighters, known only by the code name
season 2 of Street Fighter, the animated series. This season was vastly superior to season 1, where season 1 was goofy, campy, and mostly borrowed from G.I. Joe, X-Men, and those other cartoons I just mentioned. This one right here, this season right here contained more storylines, characters, and lore from the video games. Characters like Rose, Cody, Guy, Hager, and what's her face? Jessica, who all made cameos in the previous season, have larger roles here. Akuma returns this season, and Cammy not only returns, but instead of being just a British female version of Guile, they deal with more of her they focus more on her complex backstory as her being a doll for Bison and her relationship with her team from the video games, the Delta Red, who looks straight out of the video game. Like I said in part one thing I liked about this versus every other adaptation of Street Fighter, the animes and the animated television series was this cartoon gave you every Street Fighter that was designed at the time. With for the most part their character designs and backstories left intact. Yeah, this season was vastly superior. Also, like I said, it started in episode 13, the season 1 finale. They upped the anime budget and started taking more. This has more deformed Japanese Gonzo style animation, looking more like an anime than an American cartoon. And speaking of anime, they took more cues from Street Fighter 2 Victory, which was airing at the same time as Ken has orange-red hair in this season compared to the previous season, which he has in the Street Fighter 2 Victory television series, which took liberties with their character designs, that television series. Yeah. So yeah, other characters like Fei Long have a bigger role here, and characters like Sakura makes her debut this season. So yeah, sucks this season was the last, but it was a phenomenal way to close out Street Fighter. I also I didn't mention it in part one because it wasn't relevant. Ryu and Ken to the dismay and disappointment of various fans, Ryu and Ken were once again, just like in the live action film, relegated to supporting roles. They're more main and more prominent this season than they were the previous season, and we get more into depth with their characters this season. Something else they showed us and give credits for us. One of the many things people criticize about the American adaptations is the portrayal of Ken and him and Ryu being comments. This season sheds light in 2 episodes, sheds light onto that, especially with Ken. They explain why he's on the streets committing cons despite the fact he's supposed to be rich. And that's because in this season we learned his father cut him off of the fortune and wanted him to prove himself on his own and show that he was worthy of fortune. And then we got Ryu. One of the many things I didn't like about this cartoon, and this is actually both the television series, is the animated one too, was how wimpy and weak they made Ryu compared to the powerhouse he is everywhere else. How wimpy and weak they made him, and that was because both of these wanted to make Ryu a much more interesting Ryu more interesting character. For the first time, controversially in this cartoon, this Ryu was not born to be a fighter. He was just a guy. He was just a guy just like Ken. He was just an artist and a hustler on the streets doing his con, and he didn't realize his potential as a martial artist until he started training under Master Goken. That is why he's kind of wimpy and weaker here. This is the one of the only versions where Ryu is weaker than Ken. Yeah. I would normally hate that, but I see what they were trying to do. They were trying to make Ryu and Ken much more interesting, much more interesting characters than what was portrayed in the video game. So yeah, I enjoy all the episodes 14 through 26. Except for episodes 19, which, like I said, 19 and 9 of season 1 season 1 and 2 respectively are the worst episodes because, like I said, the other Street Fighters barely appear, and they center around Blanca and Bane. Those are great characters, but I wouldn't want to watch a show or a movie centered around them where the other Street Fighters don't play that big of a role. Yeah, episode 1. So yeah, the best episodes were episodes episode 17, The World's Greatest Warrior, which you're watching in the background, where Akuma returns, and in a hilarious fashion, just like in the game, murders his brother, Master Goken in cold blood, and steals his chi, and begins stealing everybody's chi. Everyone starts disappearing in the temple. Ryu and Ken are training and fighting villagers. Villagers at Akuma. He wants to use this stolen chi to challenge Ryu and Ken to become the world's greatest warrior. He fights Ryu and Ken back to back, and Ken is able to overcome his flaws and embrace his power, and defeat Akuma and send him running away and releasing everyone's chi and helping Ryu, who was severely injured by Akuma. And this episode foreshadows Master Goken surviving. This is one of the only mediums where he was depicted as surviving. And this would later appear in the game. He would later show up alive in the game again. So this cartoon also predicted a bunch of things. So, yeah, and even though Ken defeating Akuma is impossible unless he embraces the evil Dark Hado and becomes violent, Ken, that is impossible. It's a good change of pace, and I like the change here where Ken is more capable of defeating Akuma here because his cockiness, his arrogance, he embraces the dark, that also, with him being cocky and arrogant and a womanizer this series, that means he embraces the Dark Hado. He embraces the Dark Hado, which nearly made him the counterpart to Akuma, to get to overcome those flaws and realize that he's not like Akuma. This also has some of the best fighting in the series. The Guile and Bison fight versus Akuma are two of the best and greatest fights in the series. Then you have episode 18, the very next one. So I think it's so you want to be in pictures. This is Fei Long's big episode. Fei Long wants Ken and Ryu to help him make a movie. But Ken keeps getting drunk on set and hanging out with babes, and this leads to a funny moment where Fei Long says, Ken, look at you. You're drunk. You've forgotten your training. You are weak. And Ken, one of the other popular memes, Ken says, yeah, and you loser. It's hilarious, man. Then you got and this is the episode where we learn why Ken is hustling on the streets. That's because his family cut him off with a fortune to want him to prove himself. Does bring you somewhat closer to the video game, but this answers the age-old question that everyone has: why is Ken in this American Street Fighter universe doing con games and stuff when he's supposed to be rich? And this episode explains why. Episode 21, The Flame and the Rose. This is Rose's big episode, which includes Ken and Blanca and none of the other Street Fighters, with them going up against Bison, Zangief, and Cammy, with Rose's storyline left intact. Her storyline, character design left intact from the video game.
Could we get a few more guys up here, maybe more on my level?
Then you got episode 24, Second to None. 24, Second to None, where this episode focuses on Ryu and Sagat's rivalry, and Sakura appears for the first time. Ryu gives Sagat his iconic scar with his Shoryuken, but it's hilariously gay. It's hilariously gay and kind of cringe compared to what's in the video game and other animes. When he gets it, Sagat says, "Oh, you're scarred me for life." And Ryu says, "That's it, Ryu. That's it, Sagat. It's time for a new champion." And Ryu versus Sagat is also one of the best fights in the series. Even better now than I gave it credit for when I saw it for the first time. And you got 25, the best episode, in my opinion, the single greatest episode of the Street Fighter animated series, which is based upon the Final Fight 1989 arcade. Capcom game. In this episode, apart from Ken and Ryu's inclusion into the plot and Belger's defeat and death, this episode is spot on with the video game. It's straight out of the game. It's the video game come to life in animation form. I'm surprised they got this much lore, they got this much depth, and they adapted that entire video game in basically one episode. In one episode of this cartoon here. The only other difference is Cody is hilariously a rambunctious, impulsive country bumpkin compared to the calm, cool, collected, absent-minded badass he is in the video game. But this is also before he before he went to jail. Before he went to jail. So yeah. And it's also funny with Ken and Cody. They have a rivalry with Ken teasing Cody. Then you got the episode 26. The final episode where Bison, who throughout this series was taking orders from a mysterious deity, the deity now convinced that he no longer needs to rule the world, and since the people won't accept Bison as his ruler, he's destroyed, and Bison tries to steal the nuclear codes because Sagat, who wants to rule the world, turns against Bison, decides to ally himself with Guile, and then because he wants to take over the world. He can't do that if Bison destroys it, so they make a pact. To go after Bison, and Guile also wants to rescue Cammy, who is a brainwashed doll. So Guile, Sagat, Chun-Li, Cammy, and Delta all meet in the same place, along with Zangief, can go at it. Then those same people, minus Zangief, those same people, minus Zangief, take Bison, to fight Bison in the final ultimate battle, where Guile defeats Bison, where Guile and Sagat defeat Bison with multiple sonic booms and tigers, which sends Bison into a machine that grabs and devours him, appearing to have killed him. And the show ends there with them celebrating, and Guile trying to bring Cammy back to the team, but Cammy cannot live in the past. Tearfully runs away to Guile's shock, and the Street Fighter the animated series ends there as it was canceled. The other problem I have with this is that this season finale did not include Ryu and Ken, even though their episode, the final fight, that was a much better episode, even though this was the ultimate climax. And there were still games at the time, and I still want to see them adapt Street Fighter, the Third Strike series, and the Alpha 3. I think they would have been finished by the time Street Fighter 4 came along. You see, I think when they would have finished the rest of this cartoon, then would have came back and done something more accurate and much more serious and much more updated for the 2000s decade. But this was good for what it was. Awesome animation, action, more special maneuvers and projectiles, something that was missing in the live action movie because of budget constraints. I like how it incorporates lore from all elements of Street Fighter and more closer to the video game. I like how they gave you every character Street Fighter produced at the time, and love the Ocean Dub cast with the legendary actors. Like, I think his name is Donovan Morgan, who was Guile, who was also Billy Lee in the Double Dragon cartoon, and he was Prince Adam, the Prince Adam version, Prince Adam in the New Adventures of He-Man. Then you got legendary Scott McNeil, who's a lot of places. He's a rival or sidekick character. He's Ken Masters here. He's Jimmy Lee, the Ken Masters and rival of the Double Dragon cartoon, and he's Flipshot, the sidekick of He-Man in the New Adventures of
tradition.
He-Man, legendary actor Michael Dobson of the Dobson Brothers, voices Cody. He's best known for voicing Nappa in the Ocean Dog.
Angel,
Yeah.
but you're all bad. I fulfill our tradition, and you don't. I'm whole, and you.
Yeah. The late Roger Smith, I think that's his name, Roger Smith voices Sagat, who uttered a hilarious line to a kid in season 1, episode 4. He said, "Hey kid, do you want some cornflakes?" And the kid hilariously says, "I thought you were cool, Sagat." Lots of funny moments and memes. So this has been my review of the Street Fighter cartoons. To see the previous versions, the links will be in the description box below and on my channel and on my channels. You don't hear the rest of the music. Turn this video off right now.
Everything is focused through me. You to thank for. I'll go get
Don't wanna sleep in, cause I got something to prove. I gotta take what I hate and finally make a move. I think of you and all the shit you don't do. Well, I'ma make hella sure that I don't become you. Have no regrets, yeah, I'm tired of my chest. I'll never forget what it's like to be in debt. Been stabbed in the back bed, I'll show you what happens. Pass me the mic and I'll show you with action. You already know. Turn that to gains, let my money show. I've got these things that I can't let go. Watch me turn this life into something that you could never own. I feel this pain, you already know. Turn that to gains, let my money show. I've got these things that I can't let go. Watch me turn this life into something that you could never own. So fight and fight and die for the things you know you love. Do what you think is right, and you like to let you want. So fight and die for the things you know you love. Do what you think is right, and you like to let you want. So give me all the scars, I'm a human being. Cover them with tattoos so you can't see. Knew it from the start, you had problems with me. And the best I could be, I just wish I had seen. I feel this pain, you already know. Turn that to gains, let my money show. I've got these things that I can't let go. Watch me turn this life into something that you can never own. I feel this pain, you already know. Turn that to gains, let my money show. I've got these things that I can't let go. Watch me turn this life into something